It's a Christmas Carol with ponies. Am I really supposed to review A Christmas Carol? It's already had 1 billion adaptations. I mean, okay, but you know there's gonna be at least one joke about Derpy stuffing a tree up her butt. This marks the 3rd Hearth-warming episode for the show, and honestly, it does feel a bit soon considering Hearthbreakers didn't even come out that long ago. But it's significant for a couple of reasons. We finally get a solo, dedicated song from Luna, and it's the first Hearth-warming for Starlight Glimmer since becoming Twilight's student. She's not really feeling the spirit of the holiday though, probably because there's no Trixie under the mistletoe, but even setting aside the legend of the Wendigos, which are actually mythical creatures in Equestria, that sounds pretty weird considering all the crap the show deals with on a weekly basis, Starlight says that most ponies only seem interested in the superficial stuff. She doesn't hate it, mind you, she just thinks it's a bit silly and doesn't really see the point. So Twilight sits her down and reads her the story of Snowfall Frost, the pony version of Ebenezer Scrooge. Snowfall, portrayed here by Starlight, hates hearthwarming so much that she conjures a magical solution that will wipe the holiday out of existence. In a clever aside, the real Starlight interrupts to point out how extreme that sounds, even by her standards. But then Spike points out that while she might not feel that way about hearthwarming specifically, it's not like she hasn't already set a precedent for this sort of thing. So, of course, then Snowfall meets the 3 spirits. The first spirit takes her back to the past to meet a shitty teacher who sucks ass. Actually, though, there's something about Professor Flintheart's performance here that really stands out. He only has a few lines, but everything he says is pure gold. I kinda wish he was in more of the episode just so I could hear him talk more.
And what is the way that one becomes a powerful unicorn? It's your choice. Spend your time learning to become a powerful unicorn, or play with your toys and make nothing of yourself.
But anyway, in yet another parallel to Starlight, we learn that Snowfall had a bad experience as a child, causing her to develop a hatred for the holiday because she was too young to know how else to deal with it. Moving on from that, we get a nice twist as it turns out the spirit of Hearthwarming present is literally all about presents. And she even says that, yeah, the superficial stuff matters, just maybe not for the reason you think it does. And finally, the spirit of Hearthwarming future reveals that if Snowfall's plan succeeds, it will allow the Wendigos, who are really real, probably, to return. Now look, on one hand, Professor Flintheart's not entirely wrong. If all you ever do is goof off and play, then you'll never get anything done, and working hard to make things better is important. But it's also important to take a break every once in a while, to appreciate the people and things that you have in your life, preferably while getting drunk and not wearing pants. Only ever working without enjoying yourself can lead to a very bleak and draining existence. Overall though, I think this is a very fun take on a familiar story. A lot of extra detail has been added to the animation, the songs are all fantastic, and in case you're wondering, Seeds of the Past is my personal favorite. The lesson is conveyed well, and especially after No Second Prances, I like how Twilight feels more balanced here, actually giving Starlight room to make her own choice in the end. We even get a sample of what Tara Strong's Pinkie Pie voice might have sounded like.
With your friends. And the reason is to be with your friends. What? You know you're doing your Pinkie Pie voice, right? I was not.
You know, I can totally picture Tara reading this entire story and doing all the characters' voices just because she can. However, while I appreciate everything that this episode does, I am a jaded, cynical bastard when it comes to Christmas, so it could have been easy for me to complain about certain aspects of the story. After all, Starlight's attitude in the beginning really isn't that unreasonable, and there was another holiday episode, Scaremaster, where the entire lesson was about how it's okay not to participate in something if you don't want to. But hey, that was Halloween. If you're on a kid's show, nobody's ever really allowed to skip Christmas. Hell, it's so damn magical, we'll even get a Jewish lady to lecture you about it. And look, all I'm saying is that you either have to respect Starlight's decision because she only wanted to go to bed, or if you're going to make Starlight go to the Hearthwarming Eve party, then shouldn't they also make Fluttershy go to the Nightmare Night party? I mean, I get that Fluttershy gets scared, but she doesn't have to set up the maze with all that spooky stuff. Before that, her friends were just trying to get her to wear a mask, play a game, and eat some candy. They weren't asking her to do anything scary. I don't understand the difference with these episodes. Like, why is it that one thing is okay, but the other thing's not okay? But looking past that, let's also remember that Twilight had the same attitude as Starlight back in the beginning of the series. And even though she was perfectly justified in skipping a party, you know, the whole Nightmare Moon thing and all, that still eventually led to amending fences. So I get the impression that Twilight's trying to keep her student from potentially making the same mistakes that she did. And hey, we also get to see Rainbow Dash's dad again, and Victorian-era Vinyl Scratch, who looks fucking awesome! A Hearth-Swarming Tale gets a 9 out of 10.
What a party, there's so much to see here. Can't believe you didn't want to be here. You'd have had a blast, I guarantee. Here, this is the spirit of heartwarming news.
But by all means, if you want to go home early, ignore all of the work you have and spend the rest